Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome back, everyone, to the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Everyone, hey, welcome into the program. It's been kind of a long week. We took the week off between Christmas and New Year's, and hey, it's Monday. We're back. It's January 3rd, and this week is going to be very, very busy. Whereas last week, not busy at all. This week, we're already seeing examples of what CES has to bring us, and that includes let's face it, it was like 8 or 9 different stories alone about Samsung and what they were doing and what their intentions are this year. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about CES all, the next 4 or 5 days. You can check out the live stream at twitch.tv/Computer America or head on over to our website. We have an embed right there. You can check that out as well. While you're there, also be sure to check out articles, reviews, show notes, podcasts, anything that we do here with the program, social media links. You can find it right there. So today we're going to do headlines, and that's everything with breaking news. Luckily, there's not much, so this should be a fairly succinct podcast. But then in the coming days, you really want to pay attention because the way that we're going to try to handle CES is that we're going to record little 15, 20-minute segments with multiple companies, as many as we can get here on the program, and we're going to upload each one individually. Again, it should just be short. What are you doing out there? How are you doing? Well, more like, what are you doing out there? What are you showcasing? What's different? What's new? And, what's the reaction? Things like that. And yeah, I'm hoping that by getting, 15, 20, 30 companies here on the program just really quickly, we can get a good feel for the show as a whole. So definitely want to pay attention to the podcast and the YouTube. That's how that's going to be distributed. But in the meantime, everyone, let's go ahead and get started with computer and technology news brought to you by Computer America. Why don't we go ahead and just start with Samsung? Like I said, they, traditionally they're kind of well known for this. They release everything that they're going to show off at CES kind of in the days before, and some companies try to do this, but Samsung is very notorious for it. And hey, they got out ahead of it with examples like this story here, where Samsung is baking Stadia and GeForce Now into its TVs. So, trying to turn televisions into gaming hubs. Let's face it, a lot of people have consoles. They plug it into their TV. They're, they are gaming centers as it is. But they're trying to turn just the TV into a gaming console replacement. And GeForce Now and Stadia in particular, those are 2 ways that they can stream video games, hopefully high-powered video games, just like you'd find on the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X, and stream them through a television, and you'd be able to play the latest games strictly on their console. It's very obvious where the value is for something like that. So let's go ahead and talk about that. They're overhauling its TV interface, and it's looking to pull many of your gaming needs together into one place. They have the gaming hub, and through the image you can see right here through Engadget, they have GeForce Now, Stadia, Utomic, which I'm not completely sure what that is, but yeah, console 1, console 2, YouTube, essentially, yeah, anything gaming you can find right there on your television. Microsoft announced at E3 last year that a smart TV app for the Xbox Game Pass is on the way, so maybe that'll land on the gaming hub at some point. Game streaming will be available on some of the smart TVs in 2022. The company tested its latest stab at cloud gaming back in October, and instead of launching its own streaming app, it's trying to tie multiple services together into one interface. You'll be able to connect to third-party controllers and headsets to compatible TVs, so you might not need to pick up any extra hardware for the platform. And really, if this is going to be a success, I feel like that's how it's going to have to be. They have to essentially be compatible with Xbox Series X consoles. They have to be compatible with Xbox Series. Of course, the TVs have to be compatible with the consoles, but with the controller, the headset, the microphone, it has to be compatible with the Sony PlayStation stuff. It has to be compatible with really everything. Ideally, Switch, but Switch, it'd be hard to imagine that Switch would like that, but still. They mentioned that the hub will offer curated game recommendations with the help of the AI gaming hub tech. And when they say help of Samsung's AI gaming hub tech, that essentially means it's going to recommend games based on the data that they have pulled from your past gaming habits. So data tracking is now, of course, expected, but it's fun, I guess. I don't know. But still, using the zoom in mode, you can take a closer look at various parts of the screen, and obviously you can see the ultra-wide multi-view will let you watch YouTube walkthroughs of a section you might be struggling with, so you can do YouTube videos as well as gaming at the same time. Samsung is keeping gamers in mind, where it has released a 4K and 8K television with a 144 hertz refresh rate. And I think we've even seen some monitors, I think it was a 4K 240 hertz monitor. It was something really, really amazing. Wouldn't really expect it anytime soon. But yeah, Samsung trying to get out ahead of it. And yeah, I get it. But Samsung is also doing some pretty stupid stuff. And I gotta say, this one in particular really shows that maybe NFTs, as much as I love to bag on them and rag on them, well, this might be the year that they go mainstream. Samsung is putting NFTs in its smart TVs. You heard that right. Given that 2021 was a blockbuster year for NFTs, and really, if you are unfamiliar with NFTs, God bless you. Non-fungible tokens, they can be images, mostly images, GIFs, or anything that you want to commit to a blockchain or an online ledger that says that this particular image, this token is yours, and you can buy, trade, and sell that particular token, even though the asset that is linked to that token is infinitely reproducible. You own that original. You can verify that this is the original of this infinitely reproduced object. Why that's worth money? Who's to say? Hey, it's art collecting in the new era. But yeah, they're rolling that into Samsung Smart TVs. The platform, which will be available on Samsung's Micro LED, Nano QLED, and the Frame models, allows users to browse and buy NFTs directly from their television sets. You heard that right. The platform pulls in NFTs from several marketplaces, so users can preview the art and see other relevant details like who created the art, as well as relevant blockchain metadata. And that metadata, some people kind of claim that, this is an ultra rare NFT. Even though that NFT collection might include 10,000 different objects, some of those within those are more rare for whatever reason or another. Those who already own NFTs can use the platform to showcase their collection, and Samsung notes that its smart calibration technology can automatically adjust the TV settings to match specifications of the original creator to ensure the image is rendered as faithfully as possible on the TV. Is it a gimmick? Yes. Is it because NFTs are popular right now? Absolutely. Will it stick around? Yeah, most likely. If there's ever a time for NFTs to kind of enter the mainstream, you need adoption like this. Does it make NFTs worth anything? Personally, no. But this is how adoption starts. You need companies to do small things like this. I don't like it, but hey, it's happening. Okay, so there's that first story. How about this? Next story, we can go ahead and, stupid is stupid. Why not? Square Enix. You may know them as the developer of the Final Fantasy franchise. I'm sure that they've done other things, but yeah, that's the main thing. They are investing in decentralized blockchain games. And you may, that's of course a lot of buzzwords there, but we've seen examples of this from, it was Ubisoft, I think. Yeah. Ubisoft tried to sell NFTs, or, they rewarded players with NFTs either through the in-game marketplace, which they could then go to a third-party marketplace and sell those NFTs as collectibles. Hopefully generating excitement, buzz, and of course getting people to spend more money on their game to collect these NFTs that they could then resell. Ubisoft in particular did not see a lot of success with that. A lot of people claimed those NFTs, and a lot of them were thrown up onto the marketplace, but the people that were actually buying it were not really there. So let's see if Square Enix has any secret formula to make it actually work this time. They say that Square Enix president, the president of Square Enix, has published a New Year's letter indicating that the decentralized games using technologies like blockchain will be a major strategic theme for the company from 2022 onward. They didn't name titles, but he did hint at how future releases would incorporate the distributed technology. The company would incorporate token economies to foster, quote, self-sustaining game growth, end quote. While the leader understood many people would be skeptical, he believed at least some gamers wanted to play to contribute. I don't know what that means, but play to contribute. Okay. Blockchain games theoretically provide a direct incentive to those players to build their own content instead of relying on the goodwill and volunteer spirit. So, yeah, developing NFTs and developing artwork and assets for the games that they would then be able to sell to other players. And, you could sell that original NFT, not just a copy of a skin for the thing that you don't even own. The suggestion is at least that users would make items in part to earn rewards. They didn't directly announce plans for NFTs in Square Enix games. He expected those tokens to become mainstream over time, though, and believed that the overheated trading for them would cool down. Don't be shocked if you can buy NFTs on the company's games at some point. The president of Square Enix was optimistic. He sees this as the next, kind of the next thing. Honestly, whenever I hear stories like this, I just think someone got swindled. Someone got convinced of something that isn't really there, and they're running with it. If I were to point to a couple of examples in the past, 3D TVs, remember those? Yeah, those were supposed to be all the rage, and everyone in every movie studio after Avatar wanted to make a 3D movie. Every video game company wanted to make a 3D video game that you could watch on your home television. 3D TV did not, of course, pan out. There was, of course, things like VR. The reasons for VR not being widely adopted at the moment are numerous. I'm sure there's a lot of, chip shortage and technology shortage, and, it's not that it's not going to be a thing eventually, just at the moment, it's not really a thing. But yeah, VR, and every game studio wanted to have a VR game, just no one really seemed to do it right. There are countless other technologies that video game companies have wanted to capitalize on, but it doesn't work well. And it feels like that's where NFTs are at right now. Does that mean that NFTs won't be popular? Maybe, maybe not. But they're not, I can see a future where they fail and fail spectacularly. So there you go. But best of luck to Square Enix. And hey, maybe that's something worth watching. Okay. Speaking of something worth watching, check out the video portion. This one comes with a picture, and it's pretty funny, where the picture is self-explanatory, but still cute nonetheless. Looks like this was a tweet that happened, and you can see the image right there. This is coming to us from Tasmanian. SpaceX has these satellites, and they're deployable. You can put them, next to your house, next to your RV, whatever. Satellite internet, it's its own monster, and it's getting more widely adopted. Well, one of the little features that the SpaceX Starlink satellite has is that if it snows, it heats itself up to just above freezing so that it can melt the snow and, hey, make sure that you have a clear signal. Well, one of the little issues with that is that looks like some of the neighborhood cats realized that the SpaceX satellite was much warmer than the snow underneath it. And that led to 5 cats all piling on top of the Starlink satellite. And if you want to, obviously if snow causes some issues, I can only imagine that multiple cats causes equal amounts of issues with data transfer speed and data transfer rates. So, they mentioned that SpaceX already beamed Starlink satellite internet to over 140,000 customers across 20 countries. The company is primarily focused on serving rural and remote communities around the world. SpaceX operates almost 2,000 satellites in low Earth orbit, and they're hoping to launch another 12,000 satellites to help provide robust internet service globally. So the tweet that was linked to this was Starlink works great until the cats find out that the dish gives off a little heat on cold days. And, so they mentioned that it produces additional heat to mitigate signal attenuation caused by snow buildup on the face of the user terminal. A company representative said Starlink users have shared via social that their dish antenna does a great job at melting snow and apparently keeping cats warm. So there you go. That's about it. SpaceX has a feature of their Starlink satellite that keeps snow off of it and, keeps cats on it. There you go. Okay, let's see. So there's that story. This one, just a quick update. Not a lot to it, but we have been watching for it to happen. I think, let's see. What is it currently? So this has to happen in just a couple of minutes, and it looks like it is indeed going to hit that mark. If not today, maybe tomorrow. Apple has become the first company to hit a $3 trillion market cap. Check that out. It's, marks it Monday. And of course it has to close that, it has to close at that level to be named the first $3 trillion company. But by all indications, either today or tomorrow, they will. And obviously, there's other mainly tech companies, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Alphabet, Tesla, all of them are over $1 trillion. But it was just a year ago that it hit the $2 trillion mark, and just 3 years ago that it had finally passed the $1 trillion mark. So in just a matter of a year, they have gone up 50%. And I'll be honest, I use Apple and Microsoft and Tesla and Amazon often as examples of why we need stricter regulation to break up monopolies. Because let's face it, a $3 trillion company, that's going to have a lot of sway. That's really going to, that's really going to have a big impact on legislating, politics, and more. So, So with that being said, I think we're about done with that one. Still, Apple should be a $3 trillion company either today or tomorrow. So congratulations to them, I suppose. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about, two more stories, kind of in depth, and one. All right, all three of these are important. Let's get into it. AT&T and Verizon reject U.S. call to delay 5G expansions over interference. And we covered this story before, so I'm just going to give brief headlines. So what changed today was that AT&T and Verizon received letters from the FAA and the Transportation Department to stall their C-band service rollout, which is the C-band, of course, being the 5G. 5G is supposedly causing interference with planes and planes operating communication systems. And I think it's like the altimeter, the one that measures the how far off the ground the plane is. In particular, that seems to be susceptible to 5G. Now, is that the truth, or is that something that is speculation? Because there are many other countries in the world, including mainly looking at Europe, that have 5G networks all over the place, especially near airports, and they do not cause interference with those planes at all. And it's not just a matter of European planes being different than American planes, it's more of a difference of just legislation. So while the FAA and the Transportation Department have asked that they would do that, well, the CEOs of the company rejected the letter and said that they're going to make it a priority to roll out these networks. Now, they're saying that it's not clear how the FAA and Transportation Department will respond. The rejection isn't shocking, and they mentioned that it would also add capacity to keep 5G networks running smoothly as more users upgrade their devices. However, officials in aviation industry have a lot to lose as well. They're worried that the C-band 5G could disrupt flights and put passengers at risk. Honestly, I doubt that it does, but it's completely understandable why the FAA would want to mitigate or delay any kind of possible interference that might kill passengers. But it's like people who are concerned that 5G causes cancer or memory loss or whatever the heck, or coronavirus, whatever the heck people were claiming that 5G actually does, it doesn't. And to be quote unquote, on the safe side and not doing it, not really worth it. Not really worth it. There's no real strict evidence that it does cause any of those issues. So they should roll it out. They're going to keep it a priority. And until there's some actual hard-backed science to kind of suggest that, hey, this does cause interference, there have been multiple other countries, again, that have done this and done this without error. So, yeah, they're going to keep doing their thing. That seems to be the gist of it. Okay, so there's that story. Let's see, that was story number 6. Story number 7. 2 more stories. Pretty big ones. This one is kind of interesting. So to be a game development firm in China, we've often talked about how much in control you have with... Okay, so with China, we've talked often about how business is in the pocket of the government because the government issues these things called business licenses. I know that for businesses here in the United States, you have to be incorporated, you have to pay fees, you have to, kind of trademark and patent and, kind of do all these things to kind of say that this is mine. But to actually even open a business and start providing a service, you have to be awarded a business license in China. And if you want to, let's say, be a game development company here in the United States, you just open up a firm, you get people who know how to do stuff, and you can put out a game anytime you want. Well, not like that in China. You have to be incorporated, and then you have to develop a game and then submit the game to the Chinese government, who then gives you a business license to publish your game. Well, turns out China has not issued a new gaming license since, let's see, what was this? The end of July last year. And about 14,000 gaming-related firms have shut down. Yep. So they were hoping new year, new me, and they were hoping to get some business licenses, but it looks like they are still stalled. And yeah, this is about a 9-month freeze. of any and all new video games. So existing video games can still operate. A number of these game publishers still have their licenses, but if yours expired or was revoked for any reason and you applied for a new one, you could not do anything. Even if you were an existing game company, you had a game on the App Store, and you lost your business license through expiration or whatever because they're just not they're not extending and they're not renewing any gaming contracts or licenses. It's not even like, oh, we'll just keep pushing out updates until we can publish a new game, whatever. No, you can't even push updates anymore. You can't make transactions. You can't sell your game. You can't push updates. Whatever is on the App Store, whenever your license expired, you cannot touch anymore. And that is, of course, a detriment to the people who play that game and develop that game. So they're saying about 14,000 of these enterprises have been deregistered since July, according to a report on Friday. And they mentioned that the number signified a considerable acceleration from the 18,000 video game firms that shut down throughout 2020. So you're looking at about 32,000 game development studios falling apart during this ban, or I should say during 2020 to 2022. Larger firms such as TikTok, owner ByteDance, online search giant Baidu, and Tanwan Games trimmed their losses by laying off a number of employees involved in video game segments of their operations. Meanwhile, industry leaders like Tencent Holdings and NetEase are putting more resources into overseas markets. There you go. The recent company closures and layoffs show the increased regulatory uncertainty in China, which ranks as the world's largest and most lucrative video gaming market. That has made it increasingly difficult for companies to invest and draw up new video game projections in the domestic market. Because really, when you listen to a lot of these game development studios and their CEOs and stuff like that, all their projections looked at China and said, this is our road to profitability. This is our growth pattern. We need to get into the Chinese market and tap into those customers. But looks like China sees this. And of course, this mixed with limiting the amount of hours that kids under the age of 18 could play, limiting, kind of what days they can play. And of course, doing things like calling it spiritual opium and tightening the restrictions on what kind of message can be sent in video games. Like, if you ever liked a story because, the bad guy finally won, stuff like that can't happen in Chinese video games. I think they passed a law saying that video games have to teach a good life lesson, and they have to convey a good and positive message. It's not about playing the bad guy. It's about you can only be righteous and good. Oh, and also firmly communist, firmly pro-Chinese state message. So any kind of allegory to, that would lead to anti-Chinese sentiment would be instantly shut down, and your company would be, would have their license revoked. So, but still, all that aside, the freeze on new licenses came months after President Xi Jinping raised the issue of gaming addiction among the country's youth, and the other half of China's annual Two Sessions event in March. The other major issue, a 3-hour weekly gaming restriction for minors, was announced in August. So there you go. Gaming in China. Seems like it's really taking a hit, which has far-reaching effects outside of the Chinese market as well. So the last story that we're going to do, and I don't know how much we're going to get into this, but Tesla is wading into politics once again, or should I say Elon Musk, who actually makes solar panels. So you can see why they would, kind of get into this issue, where Tesla asked employees to fight policy proposal that would make rooftop solar more expensive. So at its base, you kind of pull back. So you kind of pull back from the idea of solar being more expensive. Like, that should never happen. Solar, the technology behind solar and the production of solar is only getting faster and faster and better. It's a good thing. We should have clean, renewable energy, and it should be affordable to implement these solutions in your house. I think everyone wants solar panels. But up until this point, solar panels have been fairly cost prohibitive. The people who take advantage of it either have a lot of money lying around, or they take advantage of large subsidies to put them in, tax incentives and subsidies to put them in their business or their homes. Now, with that being said, you still had to be fairly successful to have access to that. Now, where this proposal changes is that they're saying they want to address the idea that if you produce more electricity than you use, you feed that energy back into the grid, and because you are using negative amounts of electricity, your electric company would then pay you money for feeding back into the grid, which we've seen in Florida. They've done away with that. Essentially, the electric company says, okay, we will handle your quote unquote waste electricity because you're producing more than you need. We'll handle that, but we're going to charge you a much lower rate, but we're still going to charge you for dealing with your negative electricity. And California wants to do something very similar. They want to reduce the reimbursement that people get for having solar panels on their roofs. And they're also going to charge a monthly connection fee for having that ability to feed back into the network. If you have solar panels, they're going to charge you a monthly fee just for having those solar panels. Now, it's only a policy proposal, but they're hoping that, or at least the legislators in California are hoping that by doing this, they'll raise funds to provide more solutions for green energy, such as solar panels, to lower income areas and areas that are disproportionately affected by pollution. Obviously, it's not hard to get solar panels on a mansion in Bel Air. The people that own those places are likely going to be able to afford it. But how many solar panels are there in LA? In some of the lower income areas? How many solar panels are on homes that, could actually really use that money, to save on electricity? It's not just a convenience, but in virtue signaling, but it's an actual benefit to those who need solar electricity. That's kind of their point. The people who can afford solar panels at the moment and are getting these rebates and are essentially, being subsidized by the power company are those who are already well off, those who are already rich. But solar power advocates have slammed the proposed changes, and they're saying that obviously the utilities have voiced their approval for it, because the utilities, they get to charge people that they would otherwise have to pay. And I do think a large part of this legislation has to do with profitability of power companies. I'm not for privatizing power companies, but let's face it, if they suddenly have to pay all of their customers for being customers, that's not a good business strategy. That won't keep you solvent for very long. So they're saying that's so Tesla in particular, and this is where this article comes in, Elon Musk and Tesla, who produces not just the battery packs, but of course the solar panels, they are trying to push back. Some of the talking points mentioned that, so talking points here include, if adopted, the proposal would apply to new customers that submit interconnection applications to add solar by May 2022. It would also apply to existing customers after their system has been in operation for 15 years. And, 15 years of free electricity, or at least getting paid, that's not bad, but still. Exported energy would be credited at wholesale rates, approximately 0.04 per kilowatt hour. Residential solar customers would be required to pay the utility new fixed charge of $8 a kilowatt per month, regardless of energy used. This comes to roughly $50 to $60 per month for an average size solar system. But still, no. They mentioned that the proposal is not final and can change in response to public feedback. The public can express their opinion by taking these actions, and they mentioned it. Everything from rally to petitions to public comment, things like that. Overall, I do think that currently people who have solar in California are likely fairly well off. And the fact that they are the ones reaping the benefits of that negative rate, I mean, yeah. If it was more widely spread and the economics of it all, like, I guess this is where pulling data would really be beneficial. But that money shouldn't be going to those who already have money. That money should be going to places that need to implement the solar to help with the local conditions, like pollution, like smog, and, just, hey, getting better, cleaner, cheaper energy to people that could really, really use better, cleaner, cheaper energy. This is all just kind of moving pieces around. And while I think California is very gung-ho with their taxation program, I can see why they're doing it. It's not just as black and white as they don't like solar, don't let this pass. It's more their intentions are in the right place, but I could see the application of it being very, very wrong. So yeah, I think we'll go ahead and kind of leave that there. So everyone, that is about it for us today. Here we go. Yep, that's about it for us today. I want to say thank you so much for tuning into the Computer America Show. ComputerAmerica.com and of course twitch.tv/ComputerAmerica. Join us. We are going to be streaming constantly during CES 2022. We hope to see you there for lots of interviews, lots of story coverage, lots of products, and of course, everyone, hey, thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.